Archaic culture existed from 8000 to 2000 BCE in North America. These periods saw significant advancements in tool-making and social structures. They primarily relied on hunting, fishing, and gathering for sustenance. Hunting techniques included using spears and atlatls for larger game. Archaic people developed specialized tools like fishhooks and grinding stones. Fishhooks improved fishing efficiency, while grinding stones processed plant foods. They lived in small mobile groups to follow food sources. Mobility allowed them to exploit seasonal resources effectively. Archaic culture adapted to diverse environments across the continent. Adaptations included different housing styles and clothing for varied climates. They used fire to manage landscapes and improve hunting grounds. Controlled burns encouraged new growth, attracting animals and improving visibility. Archaic people began to domesticate some plants around 4000 BCE. Early domestication included sunflowers, squash, and certain grains. They constructed temporary shelters using natural materials. Shelters were often made from branches, animal hides, and grasses. Archaic culture had complex social and religious practices. Ceremonial sites and burial practices indicate spiritual beliefs and rituals. They traded goods over long distances, enhancing cultural exchange. Trade networks spread resources like obsidian and shells widely. Archaic people crafted intricate stone tools and weapons. Tools like projectile points show advanced craftsmanship and design. They used bone and antler to make needles and awls. These tools were essential for sewing clothing and constructing shelters. Archaic culture developed basketry for storage and transportation. Baskets were woven from local plant fibers, enhancing portability. They practiced seasonal migration to follow animal herds and plants. Migration patterns were based on the availability of food and resources. Archaic people created art, including rock paintings and carvings. Art often depicted animals, human figures, and abstract designs. They had a deep understanding of the natural world. Knowledge of plants, animals, and seasons was crucial for survival. Archaic culture used natural pigments for body painting and decoration. Pigments were derived from minerals, plants, and other natural sources. They developed techniques for preserving food, such as drying and smoking. Preservation methods ensured food availability during lean times. Archaic people made pottery for cooking and storage. Pottery was often decorated with geometric patterns and symbols. They used watercraft for fishing and transportation. Canoes and rafts were constructed from logs and animal skins. Archaic culture engaged in ritualistic activities and ceremonies. Ceremonies often marked important life events and seasonal changes. They had a sophisticated knowledge of medicinal plants. Plants were used to treat various ailments and injuries. Archaic people used grinding slabs to process grains and seeds. Grinding slabs facilitated the preparation of staple foods. They developed composite tools by combining materials. Composite tools like spear throwers increased hunting effectiveness. Archaic culture built communal structures for social gatherings. Communal buildings were used for meetings, celebrations, and rituals. They used animal hides to make clothing and shelter. Hides provided protection from the elements and were durable. Archaic people had a rich oral tradition of storytelling. Stories passed down knowledge, history, and cultural values. They used flint knapping to create sharp-edged tools. Flint knapping involved shaping stone into blades and points. Archaic culture developed trade routes for resource exchange. Trade routes connected distant communities and facilitated cultural exchange. Archaic people crafted beads and pendants from shell and stone. Beads and pendants were used for personal adornment and trade. They had a detailed understanding of astronomy. Knowledge of celestial events guided seasonal activities and navigation. Archaic culture used bone and antler to make harpoons. Harpoons were essential for fishing and hunting marine mammals. They developed techniques for making rope and cordage. Rope and cordage were used for binding, carrying, and constructing. They had a system of social organization and leadership. Leaders were chosen based on skill, knowledge, and community respect. Archaic culture used natural dyes for coloring textiles and baskets. Dyes were extracted from plants, minerals, and other natural sources. They developed techniques for weaving and textile production. Weaving produced clothing, blankets, and other practical items. Archaic people used stone hammers and chisels for construction. Stone tools were essential for building and crafting. They had a diverse diet that included both plant and animal foods. A varied diet provided necessary nutrients and sustained health. Archaic culture used traps and snares to catch small animals. Traps and snares were effective for hunting rabbits, birds, and rodents. They developed techniques for tanning animal hides. Tanning processes made hides soft, durable, and waterproof. Archaic people used grinding stones to process nuts and seeds. Grinding stones helped extract oils and prepare meals. They had a system of resource management and conservation. Resource management ensured sustainable use of natural resources. Archaic culture used natural fibers to make nets for fishing. Nets improved the efficiency of catching fish and other aquatic life. They developed techniques for making clay pots and vessels. Clay pots were used for cooking, storing, and transporting food. Archaic people used fire to harden wooden tools and weapons. Fire treatment made wooden implements stronger and more durable. They had a rich vocabulary related to their environment. Their language reflected their deep connection to nature and surroundings. Archaic culture used natural landmarks for navigation. Landmarks like mountains and rivers guided travel and migration. They developed techniques for making stone axes and adzes. Axes and adzes were crucial for woodworking and construction. Archaic culture demonstrated remarkable adaptability and innovation, developing sophisticated tools, social structures, and environmental knowledge that laid the foundation for later civilizations.